Okay guys, I watched a Ty Lopez video recently. It was a 2.5 hour lecture on essential drucker, and this guy is a fucking genius. Like, if you watch how he talks and how he thinks, you can tell that he's a super creative type. He's full of ideas and all this stuff, and it's just throwaway. And I'm going to talk to you about one of the ideas he gave me, one of the ideas that I resonate with, but I didn't even think of it like this, and it's in line with my anti-school idea, because he goes like this. We spend 18, 21, or 18 years of our life learning in school. And as you know, learning is a muscle in your brain. Just like when you exercise, you're exercising that muscle, so the next time you exercise, it becomes a habit and it becomes easier. Just like any skill you learn, the deeper you go with it, the more you practice, it's like a muscle, and that muscle grows and gets stronger and it gets easier to do. So you spend 18 years of your life learning, learning, learning. That muscle's getting pretty high at some point because you're having so many tests, you're having to learn so many things. Now, I'm not criticising that at all. But what Ty Lopez says, and I entirely agree with that, is once you finish school, or you graduate university at 20 or 19 or whatever, you enter the real world, most people end up stopping learning. And then they've spent 20 years of their life building up the learning muscle in their brain, and then all of a sudden, when they get into the real world, they never have to use the learning muscle again. So each year that goes by after they finish university, then the learning muscle becomes weaker and weaker. By the time you're 5, 10 years in and you're 30 and you've never had to learn again after university, then your learning muscle is almost completely gone. It's an excellent point he makes. Your learning muscle is completely gone. It's like you've almost forgotten how to do it because you haven't practiced it, you haven't exercised the muscle, so it just dissipates and disappears. And he's like, what's the point? He's like this, what's the point of spending 18 years of life building up a learning muscle and then just stopping and never having to use that learning muscle again, never having to grow it? Because that's what real life is. Real life for most of us who don't live our lives passionately, who do 9 to 5 jobs, don't ever have to learn anything again, never have to use the learning muscle after we leave university. And each year that goes by that we don't decide to read books, don't decide to learn for ourselves, learn from our mistakes, each year that we don't do this, each year we don't decide to go for our dreams, we're not learning anything, that muscle is just disappearing. So we're at peak of learning power at university, and then every single year afterwards we just go downhill until the learning muscle is almost non-existent. And then why should we read a book at 35 years old, like 15 years after I last read a book at school? What's the point of reading a book? What's the point of learning? What's the point of self-education? That's what people are going to be saying, because the learning muscle is not there. Now what he says is, wouldn't it be better if instead of spending 18 years in school learning and doing tests and building that muscle, why not every year of your life after school, every one semester or 1 week, learning something continuously? Because if you did that every year of your life, say spending every year of your life doing 2 weeks of learning, for example, like a semester or whatever, if you were to do that, you would keep the muscle at the very... I'm not saying the muscle would be like humongous or anything, but the point is the learning muscle would still be built up. Whereas at the moment, with our school system, we build up the learning muscle and then it just is wasted. It's wasted for the next 60, 70, 80, 90 years of our life, or however long we've got left. So instead, we should be like constantly learning. And this is another thing I like about him. He's all about knowledge, constant learning. Learn for yourself. Exercise the learning muscle. I would say that for me, I've learned more in the past 3 or 4 years from books and action than I ever did in my 20 years at school and university, of which I didn't do very well. And I've got a point to prove actually with failing university, that people can succeed without university, because now I'm in the business of not education, I'm in the business of self-education. I choose my topics, I go deep with my subjects, I learn my strengths, I go deep with my strengths, I read books, I learn from the greats, I make mistakes and take action, all these kind of things. I'm completely obsessed with self-education, and I hope you guys should be too. I really do believe that self-education is the key to success. Constantly self-educating gives its own rewards. Actually, for people like me, I get, and Ty Lopez, we get really excited. I get really excited when I'm learning, making mistakes, I'm fucking up, I'm reading a book, I'm getting little pages worth of insight. I'm like last night actually. Yesterday I read Peter Drucker's 60-page, really short book called Managing Yourself, and then last night at some point I had a dream. I was dreaming sort of, but I was dreaming about the book, and I was going through and my brain, I could feel my brain processing, in the dream, my brain was processing the things that I'd read in that book to the nth degree. It was very, very strange. It's almost like you're not just learning from reading a book in the moment, you actually when you hit the hay at night, and you absorb that book, or you're open-minded enough to absorb the lessons of that book and to see the knowledge, when you're asleep, your brain kind of like ticks, and it kind of assimilates all the information from the book, or the most important information from that book into your brain. And then you kind of like, it figures shit out for you. So you've got your conscious reading, then you've got your subconscious learning, which is going on at night time, as well as your conscious learning when you're reading the book as well. It's crazy. It's crazy. My point is that yeah, you want to be self-educating. Don't let school dictate that who you are and what you're going to be. Peace.